You know what I love more than video games?
Me?
Yeah, but besides you.
Cats. Plants. Food. Eating.
Hold on, you're acting like you know me or something.
I mean, this is our first time eating.
Well, no, it's not.
Oh.
But also, you still haven't even guessed the thing that I have in my brain.
Potatoes.
Yes.
Wait, is that actually it?
No, but I do love potatoes more than video games.
Cats.
You already said cats.
Oh, cats again.
But
2 cats. 3 cats.
oh, now you're picking different numbers.
Yeah.
The thing is the thing that is in my head is right in front of you. Don't say me. Don't say me.
Is it the microphone?
No.
Audio.
Okay.
Mixing.
You're done. I like board games.
That's not in front of you. That's in front of me.
That's what I said.
Oh. Well, it's actually more like 11 o'clock for me.
Actually, it's like right in front of your body, not where your face is.
Well, what board games are your favorite?
Oh, that's such a big question. There's 2 different types of board game people out there. There's the ones that like those standard games. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the standard games. You like Uno, you have your Monopolies, your Trouble. Candyland,
Clue.
things like that. Those are great games. I enjoy playing those games.
Mousetrap.
But then there's the next level of playing board games. And that's playing more complex games like Ark Nova, Scythe, Res Arcana. Different games along those lines. So it's a really broad question when you ask someone who is a board game fan and likes those complex games, which of those games is your favorite? What's your favorite?
I like the wine one.
Which is called?
Wine Time.
No.
Quit your whining.
Viticulture?
That one.
We haven't played that one in a while.
We haven't. I wanted to play it over my birthday, but then...
You never once mentioned that.
Well, I did in my head at least.
But you have to verbalize that if you want to play a game.
Well, I don't. Think I forgot anyway, so...
And you're just now remembering.
Yes.
2 to 3 weeks after your birthday.
Correct.
All right. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Boofish podcast.
I'm Fish, and I play cozy games.
I'm Cereal, and I play everything else.
Together, we like discovering and sharing new games you might not have heard about.
So there's a game.
There's a game?
There is, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's only one game.
In the whole world?
Yeah, and this is it.
What about all of those board games we talked about earlier?
Those are different. Those don't exist. We're just gaslighting the viewer.
Oh.
Or ear viewer.
Well, forget about all the rest of the games that we're going to be talking about in this podcast. There's only one game, and this is it.
This is it. And this game, the name?
What is it?
The Invincible.
Are you strong?
No. Well, I mean, you could be. Nothing in that I've ever read about indicates that that's the case, but...
Are you indestructible?
No.
Oh. Then what does the name mean?
I don't know. It's based on a Polish novel, so if you are that curious before it comes out, you can go read the book.
You're going to have to convince me that it's worth reading, so this is your one shot.
All right. Well, do you like walking?
I do.
Do you like simulations?
I do.
So you probably would like a walking simulator.
Does it teach me how to walk? Kind of like that PlayStation game that's coming out?
No. It's more of a casual experience than a true game, like Firewatch, where you're kind of walking around and it's like a narrative adventure game.
So what does this game look like? Like, what are the graphics like? Is it pixelated? Is it built out? What are we looking at?
Well, it's not like super realistic, but it's also not super stylized. I'd say it's somewhere in the middle. Like if you played Overwatch, that's not it. Firewatch, it's like that. So it's not. It's somewhere in between.
In between 2D and 3D, I guess.
No, it's definitely all 3D, but it's more. I would say it leans a little bit more on the stylized graphical style than complete realism. So this is the first game from this developer. It's a small team of about 20 people that worked for CD Projekt Red. So they worked on games like The Witcher and Cyberpunk. It's a sci-fi game. It is from the trailer, the official trailer. It says, The Invincible is a narrative-focused hard sci-fi adventure game that touches on humanity's unbridled ambition and the unshaken belief that we will find, name, and categorize becomes ours And in this game, you're the main character. Her name is Yasna.
Yes or no?
Yas. Nah. And yeah. And you wake up on planet Regis 3 with no recollection of how you got there or what you're doing. And so it's up to you to unravel the secrets of this unexplored world. And prior to the game coming out, they actually released some comics on their website, and these comics kind of act as like a prologue to what happened before the person before you. And so the main thing of the game is figuring out what happened, and it's very narrative focused. Not a lot of things going on. You're more so looking around and enjoying the environment, taking in the narrative through the environment. And you, along the way, there's going to be certain spots where you have to choose dialogue and make decisions that'll affect the outcome of the game.
So basically, what you're saying is it's going to be beneficial if you've read the Polish novel or comics before going into this.
I would imagine it. From what everything that they've put out, which isn't much, which I feel like is intentional because they kind of want to keep it under wraps, because I feel like there's a lot of like twists and turns that happen in the book. So there's going to be a lot of like secrets and things that they want you to experience firsthand for your first playthrough.
And when is it coming out?
November 6th is when this game is released. So tomorrow, the day after this podcast is released, you'll be able to download it on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation.
At least they have some variety.
Yeah.
Is this like a big game?
No, I would say it's like a AA. Like, it's not a super, super small indie developer, and these guys kind of have a lot. They have, like, on the website, they claim over 120 years worth of experience in game development. So there's a bunch of veterans in there, but it's not a huge company. So, and it is their first game that they're putting out.
Do we know how much it's going to be?
It's $30, so it's not a full price game, but it's kind of somewhere in the middle.
Awesome. So are you looking forward to this game? Would you play it?
I am. I think it seems kind of cozy, but with kind of a mysterious vibe going on. Like, I'm really excited to kind of delve into the mystery and uncover like what exactly is going on.
Do you plan to read the comics?
Well, I did read the prequel comics. Maybe if I like the game, I'll check out the book.
Wait, so there's comics and a book?
Well, the comics are from the developer, and the book is just what they based it off of.
I see.
Yeah, they're not related. Well, they are related because it's the same, but
it's a copy of it, just put in video game form.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I have a game for you.
For me specifically?
Well...
Or for the viewer, listener?
Both. I mean, you may like it, you might not like it.
Who's you?
You.
Me? Or
yes.
the viewer?
No, you.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the viewer could like it or not like it. It's up to their subjective opinion.
Right.
But the game's called Europa, and it's coming out in 2024, but we don't have a specific date yet. A little bit about the developer. Do you know who Helder Pinto is?
Never heard of it. Should I?
I don't know. I might have thought that you would have, because he's the designer of this game, and he's worked on games like Overwatch and Diablo, which are pretty well-known games.
Like in the art department, or?
Yeah, so he's a developer, basically an artistic developer on those games.
Yeah, I never really got into Overwatch and all that hype. I know it was like super huge, and I probably should have, but I don't know. It just. I think I played one game of Overwatch and never touched it again.
But they're visually nice.
Yes.
And knowing that guy has developed on them and developing his own game here, you could see that it could be a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, he's been developing this game over the last 5 years with a small team of 5, including Helder. He's planning to publish the game through the indie publisher Future Friends Games.
Again, never heard of them.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Fascinating, because I don't know, some of these games should sound pretty familiar to you. Have you ever heard of Vampire Survivor?
Never.
What about Myst?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's what they
Really
put out.
interesting. I've never. Yeah, no. I mean, those are great games. So
They are. So
I'm intrigued.
just from that alone, I'm kind of excited to see the rest of the game because there was a demo, and I played it. It took about 30 minutes for me to get through the demo, and it gave me a very, very basic idea of what the game is going to be like. And it's basically a narrative adventure 3D platformer exploration type game where you solve puzzles by exploring ruins to understand what happened to the fallen civilization on this moon. You're an android child who was sent from Earth to help build up Jupiter's moon, Europa. But upon arriving,
I
there's...
did know that, actually.
You did?
Europa was a moon. I didn't know what planet, but...
Oh, it's Jupiter's.
Well, you get to learn things. The more you know.
But upon arriving, there is no one there, and you have to learn what happened to the human scouts and society that was living there, preparing for future civilizations. In the game, you can do things like jump.
You can jump? Wow, they're breaking new ground with this game. I've never heard of such a thing in a game.
Well, can we go back to the Invincible? Can you jump in that game?
I don't think so. So...
Fascinating.
Yeah. Well, that's the only game. So that it really is breaking new ground. This Europa, since Invincible's the only game.
Right. Exactly. This is another game.
So I think you think I was being sarcastic, but I was genuine.
Mm-hmm. But you jump kind of like you're actually on Jupiter, and you slide around, you glide, you can fly. It was actually a lot of fun being able to bounce around this moon and slide down hills. It was pretty fun.
I think like good movement, it really makes a game like fun. Like stuff like Apex, where the movement is very fluid and fast, and or It Takes Two, where you're really fast and jumpy and precise.
I wouldn't necessarily say that it was fast, but it was smooth, and it was very...
Yeah.
It makes the brain happy to see how smooth it was.
Yeah.
But along the way, you have a jetpack that you upgrade, which is kind of how you can jump, and it allows you to jump even higher and glide even further, which, honestly, the gliding was so much fun.
Is it kind of like a Breath of the Wild type gliding, or...?
I've never played that game, so I don't know if that would be an appropriate question for this one.
Well, all right.
Is it kind of like Tears of the Kingdom?
Yes.
Then
it is
yes.
exactly like that.
Actually, it is kind of like that. It actually kind of reminded me a little bit of Tears of the Kingdom as far as its art style and movement in a way, especially like the size of the character. Granted, the art style is actually inspired by Studio Ghibli, and don't yell at me if I'm saying that wrong. I know there's multiple pronunciations, but that's the one that I've been taught, so I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, I did. Ghibli, whatever. You know what we're talking about.
I wouldn't say whatever.
Well, not whatever.
That's a name.
If there is a proper name, please let us know.
And if we get two answers, I'm sticking with Ghibli.
Yeah.
Or Ghibli.
Wait, that's not what you said the first time.
I don't even know what I'm saying. But overall, I think that they did a really good job at trying to mimic that style of art. It's absolutely beautiful, and the game was really just visually nice to look at. But from what I played, the game is a linear path that you're following, so it's not necessarily open world, at least in the demo. They could eventually make it a little bit more open world, but it seemed like you had to follow this path in a way, and you didn't really have too much of a say. I mean, you can explore an area, but in order to move forward, you have to go down one specific direction. I did actually try to go off of the map, but it blew me right back to the direction that I needed to be going.
I mean, honestly, I feel like I kind of prefer that at this point. I feel like I get really overwhelmed with like big, giant, open world games that have been coming out. Like I want like something that just kind of tells me where to go, and I don't really have to think about.
I do like me an open world game.
Yeah, like Horizon and.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I like open world too. Like I was just playing Spider-Man and I loved it, but you know, sometimes you just want to be told where to go.
For an easygoing, calm kind of a game, which this definitely is a very cozy style of a game, for sure. There are also animals in this game, both animals that would be familiar to us and some that are unfamiliar. So you'll find like turtles, bunnies, deers, and other animals that are there too. And they were all kind of sent ahead of time to help rebuild this civilization but something happened that we don't necessarily know, and we're kind of slowly discovering what's been happening. But as the generations go by, the animals that were there have kind of evolved into animals that we're unfamiliar with, but are helping to maintain this moon so that a population could eventually possibly live there. I also kind of had fun with this, and I tested the fall damage. You know what I learned?
As you should.
There's none.
Good.
But it does kind of slow you down. So if you jump off of something really high, you still want to kind of hover or float or use your flying abilities to soften the blow before you land.
You can keep that momentum up.
Exactly. Otherwise, you kind of make some grunting noises, and then you slowly get up, and then you can continue, rather than you just kind of land and then go off on your way.
Interesting. So it does still kind of penalize you, but not
to an extreme level by any means.
Is there like combat in this game, or?
None that I saw so far. I mean, overall, this game is super cozy. And I mean, like, if I was playing this game before bed, I'd probably go to bed pretty good. Kind of a cozy game, which it's really laid back. And right down to the music, which was almost ethereal in a way. Like, part of it also kind of reminded me of Kingdom Hearts music, almost.
I do like me some Kingdom Hearts music.
So it was definitely a good game to try out, and if you're looking for something that's not difficult, pretty easygoing, you've got some fun motion movements, some really pretty graphics to it. Did I mention it's a puzzle game?
No.
Well, this is a puzzle game. So basically, as you go on your way, you're solving puzzles. I didn't come across any puzzles that were too difficult, but there was one puzzle where you have to jump on top of a cube and then go to the next cube before the cube disappears, and it literally took me 4 or 5 times to get it right because I had the timing off, and I couldn't get it. So little things like that where it's not like it's a difficult puzzle to solve. You know where to go, but at the same time it might take a try or two before you can actually complete it. And that doesn't mean that it's not going to get more difficult as the game progresses and as they release more about this game.
Nice. I mean, I don't necessarily want to just kind of sit there and have a puzzle that I'm banging my head against the wall, so I'm okay with like puzzles that aren't too difficult but do require some brain power.
But you never know. It could come out with something that's a little bit more difficult. Yeah. Especially since I just played the demo, which is really just the very, very beginning of the game. And that's usually when the easiest stuff are occurring.
Nice.
So I'm pretty excited for this game. I would play this game if I had spare time.
Cool. Yeah. When does it come out?
We don't have a specific date right now, but it is releasing sometime in 2024.
What kind of systems are we looking at? Is it on a Switch? It sounds like it would be a good Switch title.
It sounds like it would be, but it's only going to be on Steam.
Oh, no consoles?
No consoles, nothing.
Interesting.
And at this time, we also don't know what it's going to cost because it's not done yet. But I would imagine it's not going to be an insane amount.
No $70.
Definitely not a full game price.
All right. We're looking forward to that. Speaking of Vampire Survivor.
What?
Yeah, it's almost like you set me up for that.
Never.
So, Vampire Survivor, let me tell you, this game, I tells you what. Came out 2002 plus 20 years. So 2022.
Math.
This game literally just took the internet by storm. You probably haven't heard of it, though. But I'm telling you, people are talking about it. And it was made by one guy, Luca Galante. He's an Italian game developer. And he created this worldwide phenomenon. Phenomenon?
Isn't that a song?
That's like
Phenomenon.
Either one. I know one of them is plural, and one of them is singular. Irrelevant. Anyway, Vampire Survivor. It's a very, very, very...
Very?
Very passive game. So it's like a 16-bit game. So if that kind of turns you off, you might be like looking at the screenshots and the trailers for this game and be like, really, this is what you're all hyped about?
And let me tell you, I did look at it that way.
It's very primitive looking, but I promise you it is worth pushing through and spending the $5 to play this game. Like I said, it's super passive. So literally the only control you need to know is using the stick to move. The game will automatically attack.
So there's combat, but you're not attacking. I mean, the game is doing it for you.
Correct. So essentially you're looking top down and you navigate this map, and on the map there's a bunch of enemies and they come in waves, and the farther you go the more enemies there will be, the different enemy types there's going to be, and so you're doing is navigating and avoiding getting hit while the game attacks for you.
Are they shooting things at you?
No. There's no like shooting. It's like if they get close to you, but they'll have different health. So sometimes you'll have to like do a quick flick to face the enemy and do an attack and then run away and then keep doing that and whittle their health down. But so while you're navigating the level, there'll be like power ups that you can get that will give you more attack or more damage or stuff like that to upgrade. And
What kind of upgrades do you get?
well, it'll either do like, buff your damage or do more attacks, or your cooldown for your attacks is going to be lower, so you'll attack more often.
And is there only like one character that you play with?
No, there's multiple characters. So they have some DLC which costs like $2, if that, where you can buy even more characters. But there's about 10 characters in the base game, all with different attacks. So you can kind of pick and choose, but usually you can just pick up their attacks later, like in the game.
Like when you upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can have multiple attacks. Like there's a whip, there's a dagger that you throw.
There's a whip.
Yeah.
Oh
whip.
my.
No chains, just whips.
Okay.
Actually, there could be chains. I haven't come across any chains, but yeah. So essentially, you're just leveling up. It's your standard roguelike. You level up, you get better. So after each round, you'll get points that you can drop into your character that will upgrade it for the next round that you do.
So what happens when you die?
You just go straight back to the menu, but you accumulate points that you can then spend on your characters.
Is there a time limit on this?
I think it's 20 minutes. It depends on the level. So sometimes it'll be 20 minutes, sometimes it'll be 10 minutes, sometimes it'll be you have to kill a certain amount of enemies, and then the game will end, and you'll complete the level.
And then you keep leveling up. Is there like a max number of levels?
Well, there's a max number of upgrades that you can get.
And then you just keep playing until you die?
Yeah.
Aren't they coming out with like an upgrade or an update or something?
Well, they recently came out with couch co-op. So
What does couch co-op mean?
it's like when you're sitting right next to the person, you're playing on the same screen.
So we could play together.
Yes. And I would love to play that game with you.
I mean, I do enjoy watching you play this game.
And now you can participate in the same game.
I mean, I didn't think I'd like Spelunky, and that was fun, so...
That is another game for another podcast.
That's very true.
I would love to talk about Spelunky, and I think we can have some good...
But not right now.
Exactly.
We're talking about Vampire Survivor.
Yeah, so, like I said, I absolutely adore this game. It's a great game if you want to just, like, you have an extra 20 minutes, you're like, I kind of want to play something, but I don't want to, like, commit so much time or effort. And you could just, like, throw on, play a few rounds, or play a single round and just be satisfied.
Where do you play it?
Literally anywhere. You can play it on Android, iOS.
In the forest?
On your Switch in the forest, or on your phone. Xbox, Steam Deck, PlayStation.
Mac.
And it's, like I said, it's only $5, so it's really not that much of a money commitment either. So I highly recommend you just get it for whatever console is your favorite. I think it's great for on the go. So like I would say like a Switch or your phone is like a perfect vessel to play this game.
And this game really, it reaches the happy place in your brain and makes you just really satisfied watching it. I just can't explain how this game that looks so basic and nothing to it is so easy to just sit there and stare at it. It's like watching paint dry, but the paint is moving and you're curious about it.
Yeah, it's really good.
For someone who hasn't played it, has only watched it, I also recommend this game.
Yeah, I highly, highly recommend it.
And if you don't like it, it's $5.
Yeah.
And you gave it a shot.
Yeah, you're not breaking the bank.
Well, I think that wraps up our 3 games that we have today.
That'll do.
That'll do, donkey.
That'll do, donkey.
If you want more content from us, don't worry, we have got you covered. All of Fish's socials, aka me, can be found under Underwater Fish, and that's fish like Fisch. I stream on Twitch. I have a TikTok, a YouTube, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, X, all of the above. If you want any contact from me, don't worry, I've got you.
And you can find me, Serial, on Twitch and TikTok at serial_killer_x, and that's CERIAL.
Thank you so much for joining us today and watching with your ears. We loved having you.
And we'll see you next time. We just fist bumped.
And you couldn't tell.
Maybe you can hear it. Bye.
Bye.